Welcome everyone, this is Honest Restart, and today we're going to be having another quick little video here. I'm still on vacation, but I want to get my thoughts out on this little issue as well. So basically, there's this rumor that's been going around that there will be some exclusive games for the Nintendo Switch Plus, as I've been calling it, but perhaps a lot more of you are calling it the Switch Pro. Could this really be happening? And if so, should it be happening? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, if you guys have missed it, recently there was this big Bloomberg report that came out not too long ago that most people are starting to believe at this point. Basically, a Switch revision will be coming out by the end of the year, and it's going to have improved screen technology, it's going to have better battery consumption, and then when docked into the actual docked mode, for when you're playing on the television, it's going to have 4K capabilities. The implication being that the games will be running better, they will be at a higher resolution, the system will be more powerful. So with that extra bit of power, games can look and run better. But with that in mind, it's also technically possible that this system, this newer version, this Switch revision, will be able to run things that the current Switch will not be able to. So similar to the Nintendo New 3DS, when that came out, there were some exclusive games. It was a more powerful system, and it ran some games that the 3DS could not actually run. A lot of fans didn't like that, and those games didn't sell really well, but it did happen, and now there are some rumors suggesting that that could also be the case. Now, it should be noted that this isn't what Bloomberg is necessarily reporting, this is coming from other people, but I've seen some of the people that are talking about it, and I do think they have a pretty good track record. So I don't really love the idea of this, but I do think it could very well be happening. But there's an important distinction that needs to be made here. These rumors are talking about third-party exclusives and a select few. We're not talking about Nintendo exclusives, and I think that's a really big distinction to make here. Because if Nintendo's going to start having big exclusives for the Switch Plus, then that's going to be really bad. I'll just be straight out and say that. I think that'll be a really bad look. I would still buy the system because I'm a Nintendo fanboy and I want the best of every Nintendo game I can get, but a lot of people won't, and it will not go over well for Nintendo. But I think Nintendo understands that. I don't think Nintendo will be doing that. I think there's a reason we didn't see that many more new 3DS exclusives, because Nintendo realized that it probably wasn't a good idea. And I think the only reason they did it at the time was because they wanted to make sure the new 3DS would sell. But based off what I think we're going to be getting for the Switch Plus, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think what's going to happen is that they will slowly sort of transition over to the Switch Plus and phase out the base Switch over the coming years. And with it having 4K capabilities and better battery life and better screen technology and perhaps other quality of life improvements, this system will sell and it will perform relatively well. So Nintendo won't feel too much pressure to bring out exclusives for the system. That's what I'm thinking. And actually, as the years go on and we move on to the next generation, the actual next generation, not this mid-gen refresh, I have a feeling that there will be quite a few cross-gen releases, similar to what we're seeing with PlayStation and Xbox. So that line between next generation and current generation will start to blur even more as we progress towards the future. But I'm talking about first-party games right now. I don't think Nintendo will do that, but what about third parties? Well, no matter how you spin it, the base Switch and the Switch Lite have sold many systems. At this point, I think they're around 80 million. And by the time the Switch Plus comes out, be it the end of this year or sometime next year, there may even be over 100 million Switches sold out there by that point. That is a huge install base. And the attach rate for the Nintendo Switch is far higher than other systems. And what I'm referring to here is that people buy more games on the Nintendo Switch than other systems. So that 80 to 100 million systems that'll be out there, it's even more impactful than other systems that have sold similarly. In other words, most companies, Nintendo included, would be foolish to ignore that huge install base. So whatever third-party exclusives we see, I feel like we'll only see those because those developers will have had no other choice if they wanted to get whatever game they wanted on the system. It would not have made any financial sense, because giving up on that many potential users is not something a company would do if they're being financially responsible here. So what kind of games would a developer decide to put onto the Switch Plus and not the base Switch and the Switch Lite, and ignore that entire huge install base? Games that just wouldn't run otherwise. Games like the latest Resident Evil games that we've heard Capcom has tried to get on there, but haven't actually been able to make it work. So occasionally we may see games along those lines. And what may happen is that some developers will opt to use a cloud version for the base Switch and the Switch Lite when they can't get it running on the base systems. I don't think it's an ideal situation, but if they have no other choice and they can't get it running anyways, it's better than nothing. But ultimately, my impression is that there won't be very many situations where a company is going to decide to ignore that install base and put it on the small amount of users that will be playing with Switch Plus or Pro. So I don't really think it's going to be an issue once everything is said and done. There will be some exclusives, some people will be annoyed, understandably so, but it's going to be one of those things that will be kind of necessary for some particular situations, but it's going to be a rare situation, I think, and it won't be that big of a deal, and I wouldn't be worried about Nintendo doing this. Nintendo, I don't think they're going to go that way. They shied away from it with the new 3DS. I think they learned their lesson, and we have nothing to worry about with that. I think with this revision, we're going to be seeing games looking and running better across the board, and some games may be better optimized for that, so they look and run better on this system, but all Nintendo published games will run on all variants of the Switch. That's how I think things are going to pan out. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you guys all really soon. Take care. Bye.